Hello everybody, welcome to our quick series on how to program learning through Go. First thing, if you haven't already installed Go, I recommend you do that. There'll be a link around here somewhere pointing to a video I've made on how to install Go and get that set up for you. If you've done that, then all you need to do is open up a notepad file or any text file. I'm going to use Notepad++. It's a great app. If you haven't already got it, try it. And then I'm going to make a very simple Go program. So here we go. Package. Every time you make a Go program, it needs to know what package it's in. And main is the package that's going to be run. So every time, the top level package. You can have library packages, which we'll talk about later. So you write a load of code and they're accessible. But you always run the main package. So this is the main package, this is the one we're going to run. And then we need to define a function called main. Again, it's called main, this is the one that will run. The first thing that happens when the program begins, this function will run. And we'll put down these and go up here. And in here, we can write our first thing to say. What are we going to say today? Print line hello world. Okay, this is a complete program, so I'm just going to save it in a vaguely same place. So I need to choose a good folder. Desktop, not desktop. This PC, admin, that's me. Admin, documents, programming, Golang, source, and I'm going to make a new project folder, and that will be called vars and funcs. And in here we will save this as, I'm just going to call it main.go because it's the primary bit of the program. Save it. And if this works properly, we should be able to go in our command line. Again, I'll show you how to do that. So come here, type command, and then click on this one or push enter, and you should have a nice black screen with some text in. Move using CD, and then the name of the documents. I'm in users admin, so from there it's documents. I push tab to complete, so that helps. And then programming, Golang, source, and it was proj1, variables and funcs, or vers and funcs, that's the one I want, in this folder. And if I write go run main.go, hello world, our program has done what it said. So we'll just go back and see if we can quickly describe what these things are. So func, we are defining a new function, a thing that does something. We'll break those apart in a minute. And print line just puts out to the main screen whatever is inside it. Now we're going to introduce a variable. Variables are basically places where you can store stuff. When a program runs, it just does the first instruction it can find, and then the next instruction, and then the next instruction. So we can make a variable here. Let's say s : equals goodbye. And then if we come down here, and then new line, and we can do print line. And if we just put s in these brackets, see if you can work out what you think it will print when we run the program. So Control S, and I'll just run this again. I'm running it the lazy way. There's another way you can do to install it, but if you're in the right place, this should cause no problems. Is that what you expected? Did you expect it to print goodbye? So simply by having a variable called s, we put into it the value goodbye, and then when we printed S, it printed goodbye. So if you're doing this at home, open up whatever it is and see if you can make it say some other message, and do that, and then come back and we'll carry on. So this print line is actually a function. It's actually a function that's part of the language, so we can just use that straight away. But we can make our own functions. It's really easy, as you've seen with main. So I'm going to make another function that takes a message and adds something to it. So I'm going to have a function that's called greet someone. And in here we're going to receive, just like this does, we're going to receive a value. I'm going to take in a string, which is their name. So we'll call it name, and then we've got to say what kind it is, and string, which is basically anything that comes between quotes, is a word. And then open the squiggly braces, and in between those squiggly braces is where we write our code, just like with main. And so we take their name, and now what we're going to do instead is we're going to say greeting colon equals, again, this is making it new. This is the same as saying their greeting string equals, and then we tell it. So there is saying I'm making a brand new variable. Greeting is giving it a name so that we can always find it. String is saying what type it is, equals, and then we say, well, we can say hello to, and then if we can actually add strings together very tidily. So if I just say name is the one that's come in, so name, and then on a new line we can do print line greeting, just like that. So we haven't actually called this function yet, so if we run this, it won't do anything even slightly different to what it used to do, even though the whole that function exists. In fact, Go might actually complain that we've written a function and never used it. Go's quite keen on making sure everything's got a purpose. But we can do that. We can greet somebody, can't we? Instead of greeting world, why don't we just say greet someone world? Greet someone, and in here we write world. Now let's not write world because we've already called it world. We'll greet Dave. I don't know what Dave's done to get involved in this, but let's do it. So if I run this, greet someone Dave, we should see when we come back here and I run the same program again, go run main, hello to Dave. Goodbye. Is that what you expected? The nice thing about making functions is, of course, that you can call them in lots of different ways. And sometimes if you need to do the same job lots and lots of times in different places, you can just stick it in a function and call it later. For example, we also want to greet someone else. Let's greet someone, bracket, quote, and we will greet Roz. And I will save this video. No, save this, not the video. And then I'll run the program again. I'm pushing up, basically. Up always brings up the last instruction you did. So go run main.go. Here we go. Hello to Dave. Hello to Roz. Goodbye. Is that what you expected? Hopefully it was by now. Now, so far we haven't actually changed anything, but what if we can also work with numbers and stuff? Now I'm just going to work with a basic number. So what if we take a number and that's an age? No, we could just do met. Let's call it met, and that's an int, and we'll say that that's how many years ago I met you. Who knows? And goodbye. So now if we try and run this program, there's going to be a problem. I'll show you the problem first. Not enough arguments in call to greet someone. Because here on line 14, we have 14, line 14 says we needed to put a number in. Not that it actually matters just yet, but maybe I met Dave 30 years ago. It's possible. I mean, I'm 31 years old now, so I can print another line. Oh, that was what I was gonna think. I'm gonna need to use another function that already exists. Welcome to the import. Lots of stuff in Go exists in fancy places in other files, and if you want to use another file, sometimes you just have to import them. FMT, short for formatting or something, and it has a slightly tidier way of printing things, so you can stick numbers out to the screen very easily. So we can now do print line we use format.println or format.printf. fmt.fprint, no, it's not fprintf, it's printf. Printf. This print formatted is I think what that's supposed to mean. If we printf, it's a bit of legacy in other programming languages like C. This was a popular name for it. I can say we met, a little bit of clever fancy work, %d, that's a nice way of throwing in a number into the string, years ago, and then at the end of this comma we write met. Honestly, this is a little bit weird, but you do kind of get used to it. %d means just throw the first parameter afterwards into this. So this is a function that someone else has written. When you're using other people's functions, you've kind of got to work with their way of doing things. So I met Dave, I think I met Roz maybe 8 or so years ago. Maybe it was longer. Who knows? And so now if we run this, what do you expect to happen? Think about that for a few seconds. I'm just going to switch over to the command line and run the program. Run main.go. It's taking a few seconds here. Oop, do you know what? I forgot to put a new line on the 30 years ago. When you do print line, it puts a new line. When you don't put a new line, if you do print formatted, it forgets to put the new line. So you actually have to insist on that. There's a way of doing a new line nicely in text. That's a \n, because who wants to have to put actual new lines? So run that. Hello to Dave, we met 30 years ago. Hello to Roz, we met 8 years ago. So it says the same thing, does the same set of instructions, but with slightly different results because we passed parameters that were different. So now's the time to set you a challenge. See if you can make a whole nother function that says goodbye to someone. So you can use this, everything I've got from this lesson. So we want a hello to them, and then I want later on another function that says goodbye to them, and maybe suggests how many days you'll see them in. Okay, so give that a go, and I'll carry on with this after in due course. See you for the next video. Bye.